Hey, it's another edition of Off the Top Rope here on the Off the Mic Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. So listen, I just got done watching NXT. What a show. What a show from Shawn Michaels and everybody at NXT as they're heading towards another road show in Cincinnati next week. And first of all, NXT, given all of the talent that they've brought in, obviously Ricky Starks now being named Ricky Saints, and I'll let the discourse be about that. If you've got issues with that, that's a you problem. I don't see any issues with it. I've seen worse name changes in all my years. But seeing what they did tonight, massive shocker in Moose from TNA showing up and confronting Obafemi. They're clearly heading towards something there. And then you've got the Hardys. Matt and Jeff Hardy are going to be in WWE for the first time in over 5 years as a tag team on NXT. So if you're complaining about this TNA partnership, go fuck yourself, man. Like, this TNA partnership is awesome, okay? It's awesome. But bigger picture, looking at what they have already put on the table for next week, you have got, so they're going to be in the same exact, I think it's the Andrew Brady Center, Music Center, or whatever it's called in Cincinnati. That's where they had this Maximum Carnage episode, which I panned. And, NXT can be in smaller venues because they're the third most important brand in their own company, but they easily have the best women's division. So in this in the same venue as Maximum Carnage, here's what they've got next week. This is a giant middle finger, a giant FU to Tony Khan, because listen to what they have on tap. Matt and Jeff Hardy are wrestling, both famously in AEW at one point. Did nothing with them, by the way. Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints, is going to have his first tag team match. By the way, it's a tag team match. He's teaming up with Javon Evans, who actually was notoriously a jobber talent in AEW. So it's Ricky and Javon Evans teaming up against Ethan Page, another outcasted NXT guy to NXT from AEW. Everybody saying, "Oh, this is a bunch of Rampage talents." Like, Ethan Page is an NXT champion now, okay? Former NXT champion. And Ethan Page is teaming up with Wes Lee. Wes Lee, probably, he could have been a good fit in AEW, famous, but he ended up going to WWE, and good for him. Then you've got Moose defending his X Division title against Lexis King, the former Brian Pillman Jr., in his hometown of Cincinnati. What a giant middle finger that is. And then Stephanie Vaquer, in her first title defense of the NXT Women's North American Championship, she's taking on Carmen Petrovic. So, hey, and I'm probably missing some stuff here too, but holy crap. Like, you look at this, the women's division is notoriously just dominating this show. Like, Jordan Grace showed up like a freaking killer in her first official match as a member of the NXT roster. She's going to be on the main roster very quickly, because Julia is the women's champion in NXT, and then you've got Stephanie Vaquer. She is the women's North American Championship. They're clearly heading towards something between those two. So I think Jordan Grace's stay in NXT is going to be relatively brief, because at some point you got to get her to the main roster. She's just so freaking talented. It's insane, with what she's been able to do in the last 5 or 6 years in TNA. But you look at this show with NXT tonight, and you see what they've done, and just having Moose come out. Moose actually famously had a match with Kenny Omega for the TNA Championship not too long ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. But you look at this, and like I said, I just ran down the show. They're literally going to be in the same venue that AEW occupied a month ago. There's probably going to be more people there. It's littered with a bunch of outcasted AEW talent that are in a much better spot. And listen, if you are one of these, hacks, or these, idiots, or, one of these people going for clicks, just be like if you're Drainmaker and you're going to just mock Ricky Starks' nickname or change. Ricky Starks has been the most talked about person in wrestling, and he literally has been on television for 2 weeks. He was off television for almost a year, and he's literally the most talked about person in wrestling. So you want to make fun of him because of because of his change to Ricky Saints? By the way, I guarantee you Ricky Starks had input on his name change. It could have been he wanted to change his name, or it was a legal thing because it happened so quickly. He is from New Orleans. The football team is the Saints. It could have been an homage. Who cares? I've been through the days of Michael McGillicuddy. You remember that? You guys remember how many people were outraged when they changed Gunther's name to Gunther from Walter? And now Gunther is the world heavyweight champion and nobody even bats an eye at that. Who cares? So if you're one of these hacks on the internet who's just laughing and saying, ha, 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 man, enjoy the a knockoff version of Rampage. Guys, Ricky Starks has already made more of an impact in 2 weeks on NXT television as Ricky Saints than he did in 5 years in AEW. Because I went back and looked at this, and I'll probably have to double check it after this video. Ricky Starks, I think, only had one world heavyweight title match. One of the most talented guys on that roster. One world heavyweight title match. I think his first match in AEW was a TNT title match against Cody. Outside of that, he might have had one more of those. So his calling card in AEW, let's just crunch the numbers here for a second while we're doing this. His calling card was he was the FTW championship, which is now retired. It wasn't even recognized as a championship. So that there's that. And then you've got a tag team title run with Big Bill, which was admittedly pretty good. But that was the end of Ricky Starks in AEW. So if you're one of these AEW, grifters or people that, you try to get your clicks and your money because, hey, AEW is your thing because Tony Khan's paying you off or whatever, or, you just want to, you're one of those sickos that he appeals to that are dwindling by the second. And you're making fun of the fact that Ricky Stark's name is Ricky Saints and he's now on another brand going up against, Ethan Page, another guy who you outcasted because you couldn't figure out what the hell to do with him. And within a month and a half, 2 months, he was the NXT champion, and he's probably going to be on the main roster relatively soon because he's so fucking great. And anybody who wants to say that Ethan Page isn't good, you're an idiot because he is great. And the fact that nobody in that company could see that and just outcasted him into a tag team. By the way, his tag team partner, Scorpio Sky. Where the fuck is Scorpio Sky? It's just, man, I'm looking at this show next week. It's literally a giant fucking middle finger to Tony Khan. And I would love to be a fly on the wall to see what Tony Khan is doing, because you better believe that he is watching NXT weekly. And I'm curious to see what the reaction to tonight's show, NXT, is going to be within the AEW, galaxy, and see how if there's a rah-rah speech or something like that. Because believe me, they have seen the discourse about their ring. They have seen the discourse about everything that happened in Australia. I really am curious to see how AEW is going to react to all of this happening in a venue that they've already occupied. There's probably going to be more people there, and it's littered with people that they have let go and thrown away and are doing much better in WWE. And if you can't see that, then you are just a grifter who's getting paid off by AEW, or you're doing stuff to love up the company just for clicks. And good for you. But some people come to me on this channel and say, I'm a grifter. Guys, I'm not even making any money off of this yet. But thank you for engaging with me, because you're doing exactly what is the point of this whole thing. That's the game, man. But the reality is, anybody who with a brain who actually isn't getting paid off for anything can see what is going on here. NXT is lapping. The metrics say it also too, that NXT is lapping AEW despite a talent deficiency. And now they're taking people that are being cast off and they're already better. Like Ricky Starks, I have said this for a long time. I was advocating for him to get freed from that company. He has been there 2 weeks. He didn't even have a name until tonight. and he was the most talked about person in all of professional wrestling. Jordynne Grace, one of the most talented women ever, wasn't even thought of or didn't even think of going to AEW. Because look at where she is. She's in NXT in the best women's division in all of professional wrestling. Stephanie Vaquer got the rub off of having a match with Mercedes Moné, not even contracted, didn't even give Tony Khan a look, went to WWE, and she is already the women's North American champion. Julia, another example. Like, you just look at all these examples. It's like the only people that are going to AEW are people who are trying to cash a paycheck. Mercedes Moné, perfect example. She wanted to be thought of as like a big star, and good for her. It hasn't been going well. And anybody who thinks it's going well is an idiot and is just a grifter and just somebody who's getting paid off by Tony Khan. So watching this show, man, and just see, it's almost like WWE and Shawn Michaels are just toying with like it's like, you know, when you're getting bullied in school, it's like the bullies are just like, you know, they're just like sunning you and basically just like, you know, they're just clowning you and making you look like a joke every single week. And the crazy thing about it is, and why I consistently come on this channel and, you know, talk about just how amateurish AEW looks. The reason why is because of the level of talent and the level of people that they have in their promotion. That's the problem. Is like with people like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada and Ricochet and, you know, MJF and, you know, Hangman Adam Page and all these other people littered across this promotion. Like, they should absolutely be a much better show, but they are getting beaten by 200,000 viewers a week because of the presentation and the way that they present themselves. They don't care. All they care about is, you know, just, you know, the sickos and, like, you know, putting on great matches. It's all about the presentation. Like, look at Ricky Starks in like 2 weeks. Already the most important guy because they've made him feel like a big fucking deal. And then even the TNA people that they bring in, that partnership is working. AEW couldn't even make that work. So when you're getting beaten by what is supposed to be a developmental brand, and then you've got other stars that you've outcasted from your promotion who you didn't think were good enough, or, you know, that didn't want to be there, they're now going there and making the other place look better than you. So what does that tell you? I'm really curious to see what AEW's reaction is going to be from this, and then how this Cincinnati show next week in the same venue that they were in, AEW was not a month or so ago. So anyway, that's my reaction there, long form there. I have another take on AEW and some of their booking strategies that really pissed me off. Also got some other sports content coming on here. Thanks to the 500 people that have subscribed to this channel, the growth within the first 2 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what? Thank you to the people who are just thinking that I'm a grifter and, you know, just commenting on me and trying to, like, you know, clown me. Because, you know, there are some people, you know, if you disagree with me, I don't care, really. It's actually kind of entertaining for me to, like, you know, see the diversities of opinions. That's what makes this fun. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.